My stepfather announced he was cutting me from Mom's will at the reading. The lawyer started laughing. My stepfather, Rick, had been married to my mom for only 3 years when she died. He immediately started acting like he owned everything. "Don't get too comfortable," he told me at Mom's funeral. "You'll need to find your own place soon." I was 19 and halfway through college. Mom had been paying my tuition. Rick made it clear those days were over. "Time to learn some responsibility," he said, packing up Mom's jewelry. 2 weeks later, we're sitting in the lawyer's office for the will reading. Rick brought his adult son Kyle for moral support. They were both grinning like they'd won the lottery. "I want it on record," Rick announced before the lawyer even started, "that I'm cutting Julia out completely. She's not my blood, and my wife would want her real family to inherit everything." The lawyer, Mrs. Patterson, looked confused. "Mr. Johnson, I don't think you understand how this works." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Rick smirked. "I'm the husband. Everything goes to me. Then I decide what happens to Julia." Kyle nodded along. "Dad's been way too generous letting her live in the house this long." That's when Mrs. Patterson started laughing. "Gentlemen, I think you should sit down." Rick looked annoyed. "Just read the will, lady." "That's the thing," Mrs. Patterson said, still chuckling. "Your wife did write a will, but it's not what you think." She pulled out a thick folder. "Jennifer wrote this will 2 years ago, after she was diagnosed with cancer." My heart stopped. Mom never told me she was sick. She left very specific instructions. Mrs. Patterson opened the will and started reading. "I leave my house at 425 Oak Street to my daughter Julia." Rick's face went white. "I leave my savings account, currently containing $847,000, to my daughter Julia." Kyle's mouth dropped open. "I leave my life insurance policy, valued at $650,000, to my daughter Julia." Rick stood up. "This is impossible. I'm her husband." "Yes, you are," Mrs. Patterson agreed. "And Jennifer left you something too." She flipped the page. "To my husband Rick, I leave my 2018 Honda Civic and my collection of coffee mugs." "That's it?" Rick screamed. "Actually, there's more," Mrs. Patterson said. "A letter." She handed me an envelope with my name on it. Inside was a handwritten note from Mom. "Julia, if you're reading this, I'm gone and Rick is probably very angry right now. I need you to know that I was sick for 8 months before I died. Rick knew about the cancer, but he convinced me not to tell you because it would interfere with your studies." My hand started shaking. "He also suggested I shouldn't waste money on expensive treatment since the doctors said I only had a 30% chance of survival. He said we should save the money for our future together." That's when I realized Rick married me for my money, not love. So I made sure the money went to the person who actually loved me, you. I looked up at Rick, who was reading over my shoulder. His face was bright red. "She was dying anyway," he shouted. "Why spend money on treatments that probably wouldn't work?" "Because she was my mother," I screamed back. Mrs. Patterson cleared her throat. "There's one more thing. Jennifer also left instructions about the house. Julia, you have the right to evict any current residents immediately." Rick realized what that meant. "You can't kick me out. I live there." "Actually, I can," I said, standing up. "It's my house now. Pack your stuff. You have 30 days. Rick and Kyle stormed out, but not before Rick turned around. "Your mother was a bitter, vindictive woman." "No," I said. "She was just smarter than you thought. Last week, I used some of Mom's money to pay for the cancer research fund at the hospital where she was treated. Rick is living in a studio apartment across town and working at a car dealership. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people show you who they really are."